Hey guys, Naders here, and over the last month-ish, I have been uploading videos going over movies by the decade. I've gone over 80s characters all the way up to today's video, 2020 characters. If you have any interest in watching the previous episodes, I'll put a playlist at the top right of the screen now. In today's video, however, I will be going over 5 characters that I think should be added into MultiVersus. The first character being Willy Wonka. Warner has the rights to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and they definitely have been using it. There have been 4 movies made from it, one of those movies even being a Tom and Jerry movie of all things. The first movies take place when Wonka is already an established chocolate maker. The new movie, however, tells the story on how Wonka was able to make it to that position. I think that Wonka is a pretty likely pick for this game due to the new movie that came out at the end of last year. That being said, I would love to see moves pulled from all the Wonka movies, and I have a good feeling that if the devs added him, that would be what they do. Over on the MultiVersus website, you can see the game's roster. When you click on a character card is brought up. I have made character cards for all of these characters, and here's the one that I made for Willy Wonka. The cards cover many things, but one of them are 2 special moves for each character. The 2 special moves that I chose for Willy Wonka are Loompa Lift and Cane Whack. Wonka is shown to have a cane in all of his movies. I think that he could use it for his fighting. He could hit his opponents with it, or maybe poke them. Really, you could do a lot with a cane alone. The devs could get pretty creative with how the cane is used, but I think it's pretty important to his character and should be shown in the game somehow. The second move, Loompa Lift, comes from a scene in the new movie where the Oompa Loompa wears a suit that allows him to fly. I think that he could call in an Oompa Loompa and it could glide forward or shoot upward. It could be a recovery move for Wonka, but I also think that the balloons shown in the new movie could also be a recovery move as well. I also think that his chocolate has to be shown somehow. This is why I made him a support character. I think that he could use candy as buffs for himself or his teammate. Originally, the first candy that came to my mind was the giraffe macaroon, and it would make you grow in size. But then I remembered that the Iron Giant is a character, and I don't think that the devs would want to make him any bigger than he already is. I'm sure that the devs would be able to figure out candies that would make him an interesting character. He could even have candies that could be applied to his opponents. Maybe one of those candies could be the 3-course meal gum. Maybe it could be applied to his opponent, and then after a few seconds they start to grow bigger and their movement is limited. I doubt they would last like this for very long, but it could be a very interesting move. I think that Wonka is such a recognizable character and should totally be added into the game. If we're going to be talking about recognizable characters, though, I don't think you can get much more recognizable than the second character I chose. That character that I chose is Barbie, or at least was Barbie. See, I made this list before I was able to watch the Barbie movie. Originally, my thought process was, oh hey, Barbie is big, similar to Lego in the last episode. Barbie is insanely popular and has been for decades. Anyone can say the name Barbie and people will immediately know what you are talking about. So, after seeing that Warner was behind the movie, I figured it was a no-brainer. But, after watching the movie, my opinion actually changed a little. I personally think that Ken would be a better fit for MultiVersus. See, I have a pretty good feeling that if Barbie were to be added, they would be only able to pull moves from the Barbie movie. The movie is the only Warner association with Barbie. And I think that she just doesn't have a great moveset potential in the movie. That being said, I think that if the devs are able to create a moveset for her, she totally should still be added over Ken. When you say Barbie, people know what it is. When you say Ken, a lot of people might know, but not nearly as many. This is all my opinion and speculation, though. So, for this video, I decided to go with Ken instead of Barbie. The Barbie movie, for those who haven't watched it, is a movie where Barbie has to go to the real world in an attempt to turn herself back into the normal Barbie. Ken decides to go with her, and when the two arrive, their whole perspectives change. However, their perspectives are quite different. Ken sees that men have a big part in the real world, and in Barbie Land, it is quite the opposite. So, Ken travels back to Barbie Land and all the Kens take it over. Barbie is the only one left to take it back. If you look at the character card I made for Ken, the moves I chose were Merchandise Throw and Golf Club Swing. I think that Ken should have a move where he throws an outfit into the air and it has its own advertising animation like it does in the movie. The outfit would stop and hover in the air for a short period of time and then fall back down. The outfit would have a hitbox that could damage Ken's opponents. The second move, Golf Club Swing, comes from the scenes where Ken is seen wielding a golf club. I think that he could use it and swing it at his opponents. These aren't the only moves that Ken could have. I also think that the beach fight scene could have a lot of moves pulled from it. There are so many projectiles and objects that Ken's use that could have moves pulled from. I also think that it would be hilarious if Ken would have a move where he does damage due to his good looks. He does it a couple times in the movie, and I think it would be really funny. I really did try to think of a good moveset for Barbie, but I struggled a lot. Really, the only unique thing that I could think of was a rollerblade move. But Ken is also seen in rollerblades, so he could just have it the same. Ken just has so much more potential and would be a lot more fun in MultiVersus in my opinion. Either way, whether it's Ken or Barbie, I think that there should be a Barbie rep in MultiVersus. The third character that I chose is King Kong. I will say, I definitely am biased when it comes to this pick. Kong has been my favorite movie character for quite some time, and I really want to see him in MultiVersus. I know that a lot of people want to see Godzilla more than Kong, but I think they both should be in the game. It feels wrong to have one without the other. However, Kong is owned by WB, so there is a chance that he could end up in the game before Godzilla if there are rights negotiation issues. I think that he's pretty likely as well due to the new movie coming out in March. If you look at the character card I made for Kong, the two moves that I chose were Axe Swing and Electric Shock. Kong uses an axe in the new Godzilla vs. Kong movie, and I think it could be used in MultiVersus. I feel like that a lot of people, when they think of Kong, they just assume that he would be similar to Donkey Kong in Smash, just a big monkey who beats people up. I, however, don't really want him to be like this. I want him to feel unique and be able to use his axe. He may also be able to smash some helicopters into his opponents like he does in the Skull Island movie. The second move, Electric Shock, actually comes from the original Godzilla vs. Kong. Kong appears to be defeated in the movie, but then he is struck by lightning, and it seems to give him some sort of boost. This kind of implies that he has some unknown electric powers. I'd love for this power to be seen in the newer Kong movies, but I don't know if it will ever be revisited. In MultiVersus, however, I think that Kong should have a move where he summons lightning and is stricken by it. He then gets a damage buff and deals more damage to his opponents. I think the move should have a cooldown and should only last a certain amount of time or be taken away from Kong once an opponent manages to deal damage to him after he uses the move. I'd also love for Kong to use the boat propeller in MultiVersus. This is from Skull Island and would be really neat as a move. He also could have a move where he throws a boulder, which could be a fun reference to some of the games that Kong appears in. And here's the kicker. There is a game out there that exists that is called Konami YY World. In the game, Kong is a playable character. But guess what? Mikey from the Goonies is also a playable character. If Kong gets in and a Goonies rep also gets in, I'd love for there to be dialogue referencing this game. If Sloth does become the Goonies rep, I could picture him having a voice line like, "King Kong? Mikey told Sloth about Kong." It's neat little references like that that makes MultiVersus so special, and I'd absolutely love to see it. The fourth character that I chose happens to be one I'm not too familiar with. That character is Paul Atreides from Dune. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right. I watched this film once, a little while after it came out, but I'm gonna be honest again, I don't remember much of it. I really wanted to rewatch the movie before making this video, but I haven't found the time to watch a movie that is nearly 3 hours long, so I'm sorry about that. Due to this, I decided not to write a description on Paul's character card. I didn't want to completely mess up the timeline or something and the description to be all wrong. I'd rather know what I'm talking about if I were to write it. The special moves I chose, however, are Defense Shield and Chris Knife Slash. Defense Shield comes from a scene where Paul is practicing combat in the movie. I feel like the shields may have also appeared more in the movie, but I don't really remember for certain. Chris knives are what the knives in Dune are called. After doing some research on Paul, apparently he uses an unsheathed Chris knife. Either way, I think that he should be able to use the knife somehow in the game. I really do wish I were able to speak more on Paul's character, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to find the time to watch the movie. I know that I will be watching it soon though, because I'd like to watch the new movie and actually know what is going on. Sadly, it just wasn't soon enough for this video. I'm sure that he could have many other moves that could be pulled from the movie, and if you happen to have any move ideas for him, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to read them. I do think that Paul would be a great inclusion in MultiVersus, and I'd like to see him get in. For every single episode of this series, I try to choose a character that is lesser known or underrated. I find this to be a little difficult when using movies from the past 4 years. Most of these characters will be pretty relevant, but I decided to choose King Shark from the Suicide Squad. King Shark happens to be my favorite character from the movie, and I think he counts as underrated due to other characters from the movie being more popular. Characters like Peacemaker, for example. I myself would love to see King Shark in the game. Here's the character card that I made for him. The two moves I chose are Nom Nom and Peace Bomb. I think that Nom Nom should be a command grab where King Shark grabs an opponent and swallows them. The opponent can mash buttons and be freed from King Shark, but damage will be dealt to them the longer they are stuck in King Shark. The second move, Peace Bomb, comes from a scene where King Shark makes a bomb that looks similar to Peacemaker. I think that he could either throw this bomb at an opponent, or he could place it on the ground. He could also maybe use those little monsters called Clyrax. King Shark thinks originally that they are his friends, but it turns out they are little blood-sucking guys. Maybe he could peel one off of himself and throw it at an opponent, dealing damage to them. It is also important to note that King Shark has appeared in many other movies and TV shows. I'm sure that not all of his moves would be pulled from the Suicide Squad. Either way, I really would love to see King Shark in this game. I loved the character a lot in the movie, and it would be amazing. And that brings this episode to an end. What do you think of my 5 picks? Do you agree with them? Have any thoughts you'd like to add? Let me know down in the comments. This may be the end of the movies in my wish list, but I do plan on making more videos on movie characters in the future. So if there are any characters that you'd like me to consider, let me know. I'll try to check them out. Next week, I will be going over TV show characters that I think should be added into MultiVersus, so if that sounds interesting, stay tuned. I am also so close to 300 subscribers, so if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week.